You keep asking me, are the stories about the Dogman just products of imagination? Instead of arguing, I went out and found more evidence for you right here. I have scoured the darkest corners of the internet, from long-haul trucker dash cams to forgotten footage on campers' memory cards. Now, pull your chair closer and focus. We are going to sit down together, slow down time, and analyze each video one by one in detail. I want you to see what I see. The truth doesn't lie in the growls, but in the smallest details that the naked eye often misses. Let's begin. The nightmare at the Green Gate, the San Antonio intruder. We often comfort ourselves that monsters only exist in the deep woods where there is no cell service. But this security camera footage from a quiet residential neighborhood in San Antonio, Texas, shatters that illusion of safety. Look at the scene. A deserted street under sickly yellow streetlights and a massive creature stalking in front of a green iron gate. This is not a stray dog, and it certainly isn't a drunk human. Observe the rippling muscles on its shoulders and back as it stands upright on its hind legs. This body structure is a horrific hybrid, the overdeveloped upper body of a bodybuilder combined with the elongated muzzle of a wolf. The most terrifying aspect isn't its appearance, but its intelligence. It isn't trying to smash the door or jump over it. It is using its hands to unlatch the lock. It understands the mechanism of the gate. It knows how to infiltrate human territory silently. The moment the homeowner spots it and screams, the monster doesn't attack immediately. It startles. In a split second, it loses its predator status and panics, fleeing with the limping yet incredibly fast gait of a creature not fully adapted to bipedal locomotion. But pause and ask yourself, what would have happened if the homeowner hadn't looked out the window at that exact moment? The gate was open. The monster had 1 foot inside the courtyard. If undetected, it would have crept up to the front door, turned the knob with those dexterous hands, and stood right beside your bed before you could even open your eyes. Dogmen don't just hunt for hunger. They hunt out of curiosity, and the curiosity of a beast usually ends in blood. Campfire encounter with a dogman. There is an unwritten rule: when camping, never shine your flashlight too deep into the night, because you might not like what looks back at you. This chilling footage, shared by the channel Nightmare Fuel, is the vivid proof of that rule. 2 campers discovered a dogman sitting silently amongst the birch trees. Ignore the low quality of the night camera to focus on the morphology of that pitch-black silhouette. First, look at the head. 2 pointed ears stand erect atop the skull, completely different from the rounded ears of a North American black bear. The broad shoulder structure and straight back are reminiscent of a grown man, yet its squatting posture bears the distinct characteristics of a beast. It sits there like a stone gargoyle, motionless and patient. The most terrifying aspect of this video is not an attack, but the stillness. A wild animal would typically flee upon seeing light or smelling humans, but this dogman does not. It is observing. It sits close enough to hear the campers breathing, yet far enough to blend into the shadows. The fact that the camera person dared not turn on the flash indicates sheer terror, a fear that bright light might provoke the creature to charge. What happens when the camera cuts? When the campfire dies down and darkness swallows the forest, does that dogman leave? Or does it simply stand up, stretch those stiff joints, and move closer to inspect the sleeping bags? In the deep woods, the silence of the prey is golden, but the silence of the predator is a death sentence. The hybrid warrior, the mystery of the loincloth, at a desolate field in rural Kentucky. A local resident, hearing strange noises panicking their livestock, took a camera out to investigate and captured a creature that defies all laws of evolution. This is not a mange-ridden bear. Analyze its haunting anatomy closely. The creature possesses the physique of a super soldier, with a massively expanded rib cage and irrationally developed shoulder muscles deltoids. Its arms are oversized, hanging down near its knees, with curled fingers reminiscent of prehistoric sloth claws, but infinitely more dangerous. Although it walks bipedally with human-like hip joints, its lower legs retain the digitigrade structure of a wolf, creating a gait that is lumbering yet menacing. Yet the detail that sends shivers down the spines of researchers is not the claws, but the dark object wrapped around its waist. It is clearly a tattered piece of fabric or a loincloth. Why would a wild beast wear clothes? Two terrifying hypotheses arise. One, dogmen are not mindless beasts. They possess intelligence of primitive tribal culture, and this cloth signifies rank. Perhaps this is a sentry or warrior of the pack. 2. This is the result of a failed genetic hybridization experiment escaped from a military lab, and that fabric is the remnant of the prisoner uniform it once wore. Whichever the theory, the moment it lowers its center of gravity, transitioning from a standing stance to an attacking quadrupedal posture, we realize it doesn't just know how to dress, it knows how to kill more efficiently than any animal. The backyard blunder in Ohio. Security cameras usually catch petty thieves, but at 2:33 p.m. on May 12, 2022, in an Ohio backyard, one recorded the failed training session of a monster. This is the clearest footage of a juvenile dogman, and its most striking feature is it is completely hairless. The lack of fur exposes the creature's terrifying anatomy in full detail. Look at the absurd muscle mass on its back and shoulders, trapezius and latissimus dorsi. It appears to have natural, myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy, making its body look like a sculpture of steel meat. Its arms are incredibly flexible, with wide-rotating shoulder joints, allowing it to grip the chain-link fence and pull its body weight up just as easily as a human would. Yet this is where its inexperience shows. As it attempts to crest the fence, its center of gravity, too heavy in the upper torso, causes it to lose balance. The monster slips, falling backward clumsily and slamming its back onto the concrete patio. Do not be too quick to laugh at this fall. Observe its reaction immediately after. Without a single sound of pain, it instantly flips over and switches to quadrupedal locomotion to flee. The acceleration and explosive power in its hind legs prove one thing. Although its climbing skills are not yet mature, its instinct to flee and hunt is already perfect. It fell today, but tomorrow, when it returns with mastered skills, that flimsy fence will no longer be an obstacle. Daylight Dogman, the controversial Reddit photo. This photo, a legend on Reddit cryptozoology forums, throws the truth right in our faces under the harsh light of the sun. The setting is not a remote jungle, but an asphalt street in a bustling urban area, possibly Los Angeles or Miami, with cars parked casually on the side. Look directly at this creature. This is not a bear standing on two legs. This is the most precise definition of a werewolf in pop culture. Its fur is thick, bristling, a mix of gray and white, exuding the coarse texture of a wild beast. Its head is a literal nightmare. Bared, aggressive teeth, deep-set hostile eyes, and the elongated muzzle characteristic of a canid. Skeptics immediately claim this is a costume from a Hollywood set, perhaps a prop from a movie. However, analyze the mechanics. The biggest weakness of costumes is the ankles. Humans are plantigrade walking on soles, while dogs are digitigrade walking on toes. Yet, the creature in the photo possesses a perfectly backward-bent hind leg structure, supporting its body weight while running at high speed without any sign of the awkwardness found in padded suits. Its shadow on the pavement aligns perfectly with the sunlight, ruling out amateur Photoshop compositing. If this is fake, the engineer who built it deserves an Oscar for practical effects. But if this is real, this photo shatters humanity's last safety rule: light. Dogmen are no longer afraid of the sun. They are no longer afraid of humans. They are racing down the very streets we commute on every morning, audacious and brutal. The existence of this photo on Reddit isn't just a topic of discussion. It is a reminder that the line between horror movies and reality is thinner than you think. The albino Dogman, the ghost of the Wisconsin woods. This footage takes us to a frost-covered trail in Wisconsin, where a pickup truck driver slammed on the brakes before a blood-curdling sight. Illuminated by the car's headlights, a pale, gaunt, corpse-like creature stands blocking the road. This is the rarest and most terrifying variant, the albino Dogman. Analyze its bizarre body structure. Unlike the typically muscular Dogman, this creature appears to be starving. Its pale skin clings tightly to its skeletal frame, exposing every single rib in its torso. However, this emaciation does not imply weakness. Its arms are disproportionately oversized, hanging down past its knees with long, dexterous fingers that resemble human hands, completely distinct from the paw pads of a canine. The most horrific feature is the head. Its skull bears the shape of a wolf, but is deformed with deep, soulless eye sockets. When it opens its mouth to snarl at the vehicle, its jaw unhinges to an absurd degree, revealing jagged teeth ready to crush bone. Its growl is not a territorial threat, it is the sound of maddening hunger. Immediately after this display of power, it suddenly lowers its center of gravity, transitioning smoothly from a bipedal stance to all fours to dash into the brush. Although the Sora logo in the corner suggests this may be a product of advanced artificial intelligence, the footage still awakens a primal fear within us. It perfectly simulates the description of the Wendigo in indigenous folklore. A greedy, insatiable creature, a hybrid of man and beast always lurking at the coldest edges of the forest. The forest runway in Oregon. Dogman or a cosplayer. This viral video, filmed at a forest edge in Oregon, offers a completely different, even comical perspective on this creature. Instead of the usual filthy wildness, we encounter a lady Dogman with jet black fur and two neatly braided manes draping over its shoulders. Let's put aside the question of who groomed it, Bigfoot perhaps, and focus on biological authenticity. Immediately, our radar picks up inconsistencies. Look at the creature's abs and chest as it tilts its head back to howl. Instead of muscles flexing under skin, this area appears stiff, shiny, and retains a blocky shape looking exactly like molded EVA foam or foam rubber used in movie prop making. Furthermore, its movement is highly restricted. When it turns, the entire upper torso rotates as a rigid block, rather than showing the spinal fluidity of a canine. Those glowing yellow eyes, while terrifying in the dark, are effectively just LED lights embedded in a mask. My conclusion: this is not a monster. This is likely a graduation project for a fashion design student or an incredibly elaborate cosplay suit from the furry community. It is beautiful, it is stylish, but it lacks the most important thing to convince me life. Real dogmen don't braid their hair for a walk, and their muscles are certainly not made of plastic. Centaur versus Dogman. If you think you've seen the weirdest corners of the internet, brace yourself for this insane moment. The footage appears to be filmed at a zoo or theme park, where an audience is cheering for a gladiatorial match unique in history. A centaur facing off against a dogman. Analyze the power dynamics in this crossover battle. The centaur possesses a clear tactical advantage. Its massive equine lower body provides a stable center of gravity, while the human upper torso is equipped with weaponry, a shield, and what appears to be a bludgeon. In contrast, its opponent, an ash-gray dogman, is completely unarmed. It is forced to rely on speed claws and primal aggression to engage in close-quarters combat. The moment the centaur rears up on its hind legs to deliver an intimidation strike is truly cinematic. However, this very grandeur is what betrays the video's artificiality. Look at the crowd behind the fence. They are calmly filming. No one is fleeing or screaming in panic. If these were real monsters breaking loose, the scene would be a bloody massacre, not a circus performance. The most plausible conclusion: this is a top-tier stunt show featuring incredibly expensive prosthetic costumes, or it is the product of AI video generation technology like Sora or Runway. The centaur's movement, while smooth, still retains a slight gliding effect, lacking real physical weight when the hooves hit the ground. Regardless, witnessing these two legends clash is enough to satisfy anyone's wildest imagination. Severed lichen head. Step into Monsterpalooza 2012, where humans boast about their talent for recreating monsters. But standing before this model, the admiring smile on your lips vanishes, replaced by a chill down your spine. This does not look like a lifeless sculpture of latex or silicone. It looks as if a lichen head was freshly severed and placed on a display pedestal while the warmth still lingered. Look deep into that gaping maw. The brutality lies not in its size, but in the nauseatingly realistic biological details. Observe the wet gloss specularity of the crimson gums, the rough texture of the tongue, and especially the jagged yellowed fangs. These are not the perfect pearly whites of Hollywood movies. These are the teeth of a raw meat-eating predator riddled with bacteria tartar and the plaque of bloody meals consumed in the wild. The question arises, how deeply did the artist research this? Or more terrifyingly, is this not a product of pure imagination? To recreate every sweat-matted hair and every constricting wrinkle on the nose during a snarl with such precision, perhaps the creator didn't just consult anatomy books. Who knows? Maybe this is the desperate effort of a survivor, a witness, trying to show the world the true face of the thing that hunted them in the dark. This isn't an entertainment trophy. It looks more like forensic evidence. The uninvited guest in Manistee Forest, 2014. There is a strange and deadly connection between campers and the Dogman. This haunting footage was filmed in the summer of 2014 in the Manistee National Forest, Michigan, considered the mecca of this cryptid. A camper, feeling the back of his neck burn from being watched, pointed his camera toward the brush and captured a sight that froze the blood in his veins. Look closely at the gap between the trees. A jet-black creature is standing there completely motionless. Skeptics will immediately say it's just a black bear standing on two legs. But zoom in. North American black bears have round ears set low on the sides of their heads. But this creature, it possesses two sharp-pointed ears standing erect on top of its skull, the unmistakable identifier of a wolf. Furthermore, observe the body proportions. When bears stand, they look clumsy with potbellies and dangling arms. This ghost, however, has broad shoulders, a tapered waist, and the rigid alert posture of a supreme predator. It is not standing there to sniff for honey. It is standing there to assess its prey. The dense, silent forest setting only amplifies the horror. How long had it been standing there? 10 minutes, an hour. The fact that it openly reveals itself in daylight, showing zero fear of human presence, is a silent warning. This is my territory and you are in my sights. If you see a dogman staring at you without attacking, don't celebrate yet. Perhaps it isn't hungry, or more terrifyingly, it is simply waiting for nightfall. The ghost at Seney. Welcome to the Seney National Wildlife Refuge in Michigan, where winter turns the landscape into a beautiful yet deadly ink wash painting. A couple driving to enjoy the snowfall accidentally recorded an encounter with one of North America's most terrifying creatures. Look at the stark contrast. Amidst the pristine white snow, a massive pitch-black mass appears like a void in space. This is not a black bear woken from hibernation. Observe its posture closely. The creature is sitting, or rather squatting, on its hind legs, yet even in this seated position it is eye level with the passengers in the car. Its body structure is a grotesque hybrid. The back is broad and rugged like a boulder covered in thick, dense fur to withstand the sub-zero temperatures. But the detail that sends shivers down the spine is its action. The monster tilts its head back muzzle, pointing straight at the treetops in the characteristic howling posture of a wolf. Although the video lacks the clear audio of the howl, that body language is an assertion of territorial dominance. As the car gets closer, the creature turns. Its eyes reflect the light, glowing like two ghostly orbs set within a dark visage. It shows absolutely no fear of the metal machine. The subtitle, "Oh my God, just drive," appearing on the screen is not a movie line. It is the wife's pure survival reflex. She understands that if that monster decided to block the car instead of standing by the roadside, that thin windshield would offer little protection for very long. The underground trade, when dogmen become merchandise. Next video, leaked from an abandoned house on the outskirts of India, completely flips that script, revealing a reality that is far more chilling and cruel: the commercialization of the taboo. In the photo, an emotionless man leads a mysterious creature through a dark corridor holding a thick iron chain, as if walking a domestic pet. The man's calmness contrasts sharply with the grotesque appearance of the creature beside him, creating an atmosphere that is suffocatingly tense. Analyze this living merchandise closely. Its head bears the distinct characteristics of a jackal or hyena with large pointed ears and an elongated skull structure. However, the body is a biological anomaly. Its arms are unnaturally elongated, hanging down past its knees with gaunt, clearly separated fingers which are absolutely not the paw pads of a quadrupedal beast. The skin on its arms appears raw and hairless, suggesting poor health or the consequences of long-term captivity in an unsuitable environment. The most haunting and baffling detail is the pair of blue jeans the creature is wearing. Why is a monster wearing artificial clothing? This is no coincidence. It indicates deep human intervention. Smugglers may have dressed it for camouflage, to humanize it for the twisted collecting tastes of the ultra-rich, or simply to conceal distinct biological features during transport. The devil's claw or makeup art. Sometimes to find monsters we don't need to wade into dark swamps or set up trail cameras in the deep woods. Sometimes the monsters come to us through our phone screens. A video posted by a woman in the USA has taken social media by storm, showing a close-up of what appears to be a terrifying biological transformation of her own hand. At first glance, this is a dermatologist's nightmare. Look at the structure of that hand. Abnormally long fingers ending in jet black claws sharp as daggers. The skin transitions from light brown to a deep bruised black at the fingertips, suggesting necrosis or a spreading dark infection. The sparse yet coarse hair growing along the forearm adds to the bestial nature of this creature. However, let's calm down and turn on detective mode. Although the execution of this piece is incredibly polished, it still reveals traces of artificiality. Look closely at the claws as the hand moves. Their curve and sheen bear the characteristics of acrylic or polygel materials familiar in the nail art industry, rather than the natural keratin of an animal. These claws are manually filed to perfection, far too clean for a beast that digs in the dirt. As for the blackened skin on the fingertips, that is highly likely the result of contouring techniques using specialized SFX makeup or activated charcoal to create a visual gradient. And that hair, in the special effects industry, gluing fake hair onto skin using spirit gum is a fundamental technique. 13 videos. 13 messy puzzle pieces mixed between reality and special effects. My job today wasn't to convince you that the Dogman is real. My job was to put this data on the scale. Now it is time for you to be the judge. Among what we just watched, which ones are products of a clumsy costume, which are works of AI, and most importantly, which is the footage that set your intuition alarms ringing? Leave your verdict in the comments below. Atsu, this community needs your sharp eyes to filter out the hoaxes and find the rough diamonds of truth. Don't hesitate to debate, because the truth often lies where least expected. The world is not short of strange things. It is only short of people who dare to ask questions. Keep a cool head and your eyes wide open. I'm John. Thank you for joining this investigation.